I thought I'd share my journey with FND. Mine was a sudden onset. I collapsed on, well, would you believe, Christmas night 2018 with stroke-like symptoms. Very, very scary. Couldn't speak, fallen to the floor, just couldn't coordinate my arms and legs at all. The ambulance came and they took me away into hospital. I was in a CT scan within half an hour, followed by an MRI the next day. Some x-rays, and they also tried to do a lumbar puncture, but that failed. I'm not quite sure why, but that has never been repeated. Everything came back fine, and I was discharged after a few days staying there. Very confusing, terrible really, because my symptoms then progressed and I could barely walk. It's mainly my right side, but I could barely walk at this time. And my husband took me to the doctors in the January because my neck was just totally in a spasm, terrible. And he then referred me to a neurologist. I was perhaps one of the lucky ones because I got diagnosed in the February, which is only a couple of months after the onset. And he told me about functional neurological disorder, which I'd never heard of, as most people hadn't or haven't. He just said that he would refer me to the FND clinic at the Walton Centre, but that there was a long wait. He didn't give me a website, didn't give me any information. Did the Hoover test, did a few other simple tests, and was quite convinced that it was FND. And then that was basically it. My main symptoms are very unpredictable, really. In the very early days, the seizures, I would fall to the floor and they would be like grand mal seizures where I'd be shaking and my eyes were rolling in the back of my head and would make me feel absolutely terrible and worn out for quite a long time afterwards, and I'd have two or three per day, really. I also had what I would call like a drop knee. My right leg was giving way all the time, so I used a walker most of the time, but due to the knee dropping all the time, I then experienced a very painful meniscus tear in it, and the doctor felt as though I needed surgery to correct that. And then COVID hit, so the surgery didn't happen. And when I did go back the following year, there was too much arthritis in the knee to have a tear repair, and they said I wouldn't benefit from it anyway. So I still have ongoing knee pain. The same year, a dog knocked me off balance and broke my ankle, so that was quite hard to deal with FND. I also have tremors, tics. I had vocal tics for a while, which was quite distressing, but they seem to have calmed down. Something I have when I'm coming out of a seizure is I seem to talk in a foreign language or something that doesn't really make sense. So that's just one of the strange symptoms of FND. I have random eye closing. I also have a bit of my body bounces when I lie down in bed, but I have to sleep on my right side to stop it bouncing. I have freezing episodes where I can't move, which is always kind of frightens me. And I have ongoing joint pain. I had neurophysiotherapy. I paid private for it in 2019, just a 6-week block. That helped me slightly, but the better for me was the NHS neurophysio I had in 2021 at the Walton Centre, and I was put on their rehab programme for 9 sessions. That helped me to get my techniques, to help me to unfreeze. It gave me techniques and to get me walking a lot better. So it did a lot of mirror therapy, which was Michael at the Walton Centre was amazing and very patient, and it's definitely helped me. I had a strange symptom that I couldn't turn right for some reason, and he gave me techniques to do that. So that was brilliant. I think I was quite lucky to have that. I was due to have CBT at the Walton Centre probably this year, but unfortunately they've lost the funding for it, so I haven't had that. I was told to find somebody private, but I'm just a little bit reluctant to do that because I need to find somebody that really knows about FND. So I'm still looking into that one. How it's affected me really is I used to work full time and I no longer work. Work felt it was a risk if they had a fire alarm because of the seizures and because I freeze on the spot. And I'm quite okay with the way where they're coming from on that one. I've lost my driving licence. That's a massive blow. I've driven for years and years, and again I get it, but it's still very, very upsetting really. I've been 4 years not working now, and I did have a stressful job, so there's two ways of looking at that one really. Any positives I've taken from FND is I've learned to slow right down. I was one of these million-mile-an-hour people working full-time, doing all kinds of things, and now I've learned just to slow down and to pace myself. And if I don't feel like doing anything, then I don't do it now, where I would probably have pushed through before, but I listen to my body more now, and it's made me appreciate my good days and never take life for granted, and indeed never take walking, dancing, singing, things like that for granted, because it can be gone in an instant. And I'm genuinely humbled by the small group of friends that I do have and family that's been there for me every step of the way. My husband has been amazing, and we have 2 little pugs that have just an absolute joy for me. If I have any advice for anyone who's newly diagnosed with FND is please try not to panic, because you don't know what's happening. It can come on very suddenly, but if you can try not to panic and talk to your GP, talk to health professionals, talk to the FND Hope page, talk to the online community with it. And I remember feeling grateful that it wasn't a life-limiting condition and thinking, thank goodness it's not one of the other neurological conditions that is a lot more severe and life-limiting. So I remember feeling absolutely grateful. And the last thing I would say is learn to say no. Don't always have to try and please everybody. Thanks for listening.